Destination healthy relationship. This is the topic of this lesson. In the previous video, we looked at the current state of your partnership, of your couple, and we've taken kind of the GPS coordinates of where you stand at the moment in this relationship. Today, we're going to want to identify the criteria, the characteristics of happy and healthy relationships. What does it mean to be in a fulfilling relationship that is intimate in nature? Imagine you are on a boat and the waves of life are moving your boat. You will end up someplace in your relationship. Whether you want it or not, the waves of life are moving you in all sorts of directions. Now, if you have some intentionality, if you intend to go towards healing, happy, close, intimate relationship, what does it look like? Where do you need to point your compass toward? Well, that's the topic of today. And before we examine what it means like to be in a great relationship, loving, we're going to look at what it is not. And for that, I'm going to share with you what I have learned from being an advocate and a volunteer for a local charity that takes care and helps survivors of domestic violence. And so I want to show you the extreme of what it means like to be in an unhealthy relationship that's potentially dangerous. And I'm not going to reinvent the wheel. There's lots of information out there. So let me share with you the questions that the non-profit organizations that help survivors of domestic violence ask to assess whether a relationship is healthy or unhealthy to the point of being toxic and dangerous. The first question they ask, is my relationship healthy? Does my partner humiliate or degrade me by calling me names? And by this, they mean, you are such a beep, and using words that are dehumanizing you as a person. Not your actions, but you as a person in a consistent way that it feels really painful. Does your partner control what you do, who you see or talk to? Does your partner threaten to take your children away or call you a bad parent? Does your partner make you ask for or refuse to give you money? Does your partner force you or pressure you to have sex? Does your partner tell the kids you are a bad parent? Does your partner stop you from seeing your family or friends? Does your partner keep you from getting or holding a job? Does your partner frighten you with their temper? Does your partner shove, slap, or hit you, or choke you? If you answered yes to any of these questions, you may be in an unhealthy relationship. And there is a hotline number that I'd like to give to you, especially if you feel like your life or the life of somebody you care who lives with you is threatened. And the national hotline that you can call is 800-799-7233. 800-799-7233 is a 24/7 hotline that's available, and it's completely anonymous, and that's if you feel threatened, and that is a big deal. When I read this list, when I started taking my training to become an advocate with survivors of domestic violence, I was very saddened because I realized, and I knew that before, but I realized that one that in my family there had been some history of that. Control, absolutely. My grandma was eventually completely isolated from her family and friends, and she had nobody except a husband and her children, and working for the family business. And she was also controlled, her movements were controlled by my grandpa because she did not, she was not allowed to learn how to drive. The excuse was that grandpa thought she, might kill herself by driving. But I suspect that there is something a little bit more controlling about the reason why my grandpa didn't want grandma to learn how to drive. So these little things may not, be in your life at all, but they could help somebody else. Whether it's your teenage daughter, whether it's a friend, I'd like to encourage you to give them this hotline number and maybe to share these very simple questions with them. But let's move on to something more uplifting. We do not want to stay in that place, and let's learn about the characteristics of happy and healthy relationships. Because yes, these relationships exist, and I am a living proof of this. Me and my husband have been together for more than 10 years, and we are a very strong unit together. There is nothing that I feel I cannot express, and there is nothing that he cannot express either. We can be our true selves around one another. We do have disagreements at times, but whatever happens, we feel that we are able to keep the connection, the partnership, the commitment, and the zest for life, for being together and enjoying each other's companies. So there are researchers who study happy couples. Yeah. And what researchers say is that there are several characteristics that are pretty common amongst happy, fulfilled couples. But before I give you the solutions, I would like to go to your workbook and answer this question for yourself. What do you think are the 3 most important characteristics for what makes a relationship healthy, happy, close, successful, fulfilling? What are they? You can work on this now. I'm going to give you the answers now, and there's more than 3, but happiness researchers tell us of the following characteristics. And the first one is the ability to love and feel loved. So it means that within oneself, there is no major blockage that stops our ability to project our love outwards, and there is no blockage or major blockage that prevents us from receiving love, being able to see it and to perceive and to feel it within ourselves. That's kind of a big deal, isn't it? And so this first characteristic gives us a clue that maybe there is something within us that we can nurture a little bit more to feel more love. Maybe it's already there around us. We just need to open ourselves up a little bit more, or maybe a lot more, depending on where you're coming from, what kind of life experiences you've had, whether you've had to deal with major trauma or major trust issues. So that's the first one. It also implies that there is a give and take. I don't like this take, using the word take. I prefer to say give and receive. There is a flow of energy of this love, and it's not like I hoard it, I keep it to myself. I'm also able to expand it and to share it with others. And so it moves like a river. if you will. The next characteristic is mutual understanding. I understand you and you get me. Not all of the time, because we are not superhumans, but a lot of the time, you understand the depth of who I am, what's important to me, what I value, what are my dreams, what are my fears, and I do the same towards you. So that's really essential. There is a kind of depth to the relationship. It's not just, I'm organizing this around our couple, we're going to plan for this and that, and I'm handling this issue and that issue. There is true deepening of the communication and the intimacy between each other. Another characteristic is caring. I care about you and you care about me, and we know it. I definitely feel that with my husband. So that with the idea of care, there is this warmth to the relationship. There is not a lot of coldness or turning away or like I'm not listening to you or attack or bickering. There's a lot of warmth and opening of one another. Next characteristic is help in times of trouble. That's a big deal because things happen in life. Maybe we lose someone we cared for. Maybe we lose our job. Maybe we are faced with an illness or the illness of a parent. And those situations can create a lot of stress and challenges. And we don't necessarily want to ride on this painful journey all by ourselves. And having the knowledge that we feel supported, not only with our, emotional support, but also with actions, helping, being helped, and you also being able to do the same for your partner. Were you always there when they've had some rough patches on their journey? All right? In the same way that being there for each other is important in times of troubles, it's also important in happy times, in moments of celebrations. Maybe it's the wedding of a dear friend and you really want your partner to be here with you because it means a lot to you. Maybe it's the birth of a child. You really want your partner to be there. And there's a story, pretty close story in my family of, the dad not being there for the birth of their very first child. And mom had a very hard time dealing with it. It's a big deal being there in times of celebration. Same thing, are you able to express and to be there and enthusiastic and nurturing when your partner is celebrating something, whether it's a career promotion or something else? Another one, validation of self-worth. You value each other. You matter to one another. It's very obvious that you appreciate your partner, they appreciate you, you add value to each other's life just by being together. Do you feel like that at all times? Probably not. But do you feel like this a lot of the time? Well, that's the goal. Okay, this one is important. Security and reliability. Security is feeling secure that your partner will be there for you. Or that if your partner or yourself have been threatening for a breakup or divorce, the level of stability and security of the relationship is at stake, right? And reliability. Do you do what you say you would do on a regular basis? Does he or she does what they say on a regular basis? Can you trust him or her? Can they trust you as well? Another aspect of a healthy and happy relationship is growth and learning. Do you guys do your own things in separate tracks? Or do you sometimes come together and have like a common vision, a common dream, whether it's to start a business or buy this house or go on a retreat together, or learn this new hobby together. Sometimes it's okay to stay on your own path. We are all individuals still, but it's good to be able to join and have some common goals and be able to learn from one another. And last but not least, do you guys have fun with each other? Play, lightness, enjoying one another's company, giggles and laughter and goofing around. So, the next part of the exercise here is for you to compare what you guys wrote down previously and answer this question. What are you already doing well in your relationship? I'm sure there's lots of things that are already doing well or even great, and it's worth acknowledging it. Maybe you guys know how to have a good laughter together. You know, you know how to be silly and have a good time together. And obviously, what could you improve in the relationship? And no relationship is perfect. But on this spectrum, how far do you want to go? What could you do a little bit better or a lot better in some cases for your relationship to be able to be fulfilling over time? Maybe it is that in times of trouble, maybe for you it's being in times of trouble and being able to express that you need help and knowing that your partner will be there to help you in the specific ways that are meaningful to you. Or maybe it's a concern that your partner has expressed, that you've not been there in times when the business went bankrupt and he or she was struggling with having to deal with all these people being angry or wanting something from your partner. So take a moment to think about what could be improved in your relationship and have this as a point of focus. It gives you the coordinates, the GPS coordinates of where you want to go towards healthy, happy, fulfilling relationship. And I'd like to ask you a personal question. Think about the people who brought you up, whether it's your parents or your grandparents, whether it was a single mom or single dad, and think about the main models you've had for being in an intimate relationship, being in a couple. Who were those people? Do they fit the characteristics of happy and healthy relationships? Have you had a chance to learn about these practices and these ways of being around one another from the people who took care of you when you were kids? I know that I did not really have great role models for happy and healthy relationships. It's something I've had to learn in my late 20s and my early 30s. It's actually something that you can learn to acquire the knowledge, to improve and to heal the past and to heal what's not working for you and for your partner. I would like to encourage you to examine who are the couples that you know, the intimate partnerships or relationships that you know of. And are they healthy couples? Are they happy relationships? And if they're not, based on what we've discovered here, you may have to not listen too much to their advice. You may have to find couples, maybe make new friends or amongst your colleagues. Try to discover other couples that are working well with one another. It does not mean that their life is smooth sailing at all times. It does not mean that they don't have ups and downs, but they are a strong unit and they enjoy being with one another, and they're committed to one another. And try to spend a little bit more time with them if you can. And obviously the purpose of this program is to share my experience with you and also share the wisdom and knowledge that I've actually studied and learned about from different therapists, from different life coaches, from some of my clients, some of the wisest people that I've met in my life, and some of the ancient wisdom that I believe can help on our journey here towards strengthening our relationships. So I look forward to seeing you on the next lesson, on our next video. See you soon.